Good morning, everyone. As you can see, this Palm Beach Synagogue Sukkah is bigger and better than ever in honor of Sukkot, which is beginning tomorrow night. And you know, these days, everyone's looking for outdoor dining. Well, at Palm Beach Synagogue and throughout the world, the Jewish people have outdoor dining. And what could be better than being in the open air to protect ourselves from the virus? And I was thinking to myself, you know, the holiday of Sukkot is about leaving our permanent comfortable dwellings and going out to the temporary dwelling of the outdoor sukkah. And our rabbis say that the reason we eat in the sukkah is to remind ourselves, as the Torah says, of the divine protection that God gave us in the desert. And to remind ourselves that even today, where we think our protections come from our fortified homes and our gated communities and our security systems, true protection only comes from Hashem. And we have to look up to the heavens and having trust and faith in God that God is watching over us. And that's why we have to look through the schach, the branches, and see the stars in the heaven above. As you know, the word bitachon in Hebrew means security, and bitachon means trust. True security comes from faith and trust in God. As King David says, Ezri mim Hashem, my help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. And today, during the coronavirus, we learned this better than ever. You could sit in the most fortified mansion, in the most beautiful indoor restaurant, but you're not as safe as sitting in the outdoors. In the outdoors, we realize that God's open air, fresh open air, is the safest place to be. And this is a reminder year-round that we are constantly in Hashem's hands. And when we constantly wash our hands during this coronavirus, we should meditate about the fact that our lives are always in God's hands, whether we realize it or not. But there's another message of Sukkah, and that is gratitude. It's the time of the harvest. We thank Hashem for our blessings. And we realize once again that we should not take any of our blessings for granted. And by coming out into the Sukkah and sitting in the open air, we're reminded that God built this beautiful world for us. We may have our personal dwelling places, but the big world that we dwell in was all created by God. This beautiful environment, this heaven above and the earth below and the oceans and the fresh air. Who gave us this home? God. Never take it for granted. It's a story told about an elderly man in his 80s who unfortunately was rushed to the hospital due to the coronavirus. And he spent weeks struggling to breathe on oxygen machines and then put on a ventilator. And when he finally recovered and he was going home, they handed him the bill, and it was for tens of thousands of dollars. And he started to cry, and his wife said, "Why are you crying? We have a good insurance policy. The insurance will pay for this." And he said, "That's not why I'm crying. I'm crying because I realized that for 3 weeks in the hospital, for the ability to breathe, cost me tens of thousands of dollars. How much do I owe God for 80 years of my life of being able to breathe freely, without any effort, without any machinery, the natural fresh air that God gave us?" So when we sit under the sukkah, let us remember that we're safest and most protected when we put our trust in God and realize that we cannot protect ourselves from this little invisible virus. Only Hashem could watch over us and remove this plague from us. And at the same time, as we breathe in the deep, fresh air of the outdoor sukkah, appreciate the many gifts that God gives us. Don't take any single one of them for granted. And so, come enjoy outdoor dining at the Palm Beach Synagogue's beautiful sukkah. The sukkah is for every member of the community. It will be here 24/7 for all 7 days of Sukkot. And we'll leave the door open and we'll leave the light on for you. Bring your food or join us for any of the meals that we're having here and do the mitzvah of eating in the sukkah. And this year, more than ever, appreciate God's home that He built for us and the protection He provides for us. May we all have a joyous, happy, and a healthy Sukkot.